Hey YouTube, Deke here with D-Fixin' again. Today we're headed out to look at a tractor. I'm still calling it a will it start. However, somebody's doodled with it. It's been sitting about 4 years. I don't know all the specifics of it, but the short of it, someone borrowed the tractor, felt that it was low on antifreeze, filled it up with water. A couple days later, weather turns cold, something froze up and broke. Then somebody comes, tears it all apart, and doesn't come to put it back together again. So it's sit there in a pile for 4 years. And like all my favorite will it starts, I'm going with a bucket because I downloaded a couple of pictures off the internet so that I would have the torque settings on a couple of the big bolts. I was told there's a box of new parts, a box of some old parts. It's gonna be a jigsaw puzzle. I'm sure it'll be moderately interesting. Because it's the first time I ever, well, that's not a lie, that's a lie. So long time ago, a guy came to me. He had a Chevy Vega with a race car motor in it, and it was sitting on his driveway. He'd burn up the clutch, didn't want to do the clutch himself, so we paid somebody else. That guy put the clutch disc into the motor backwards and then basically torqued it in, and the guts from the clutch that he had were about the same size as the inset to the back of the flywheel bolts, and he pressed all that together and then left it. And then so I had to go, and again, I should have trusted but verified, and I didn't. So I show up, put the transmission in, no clutch, play with it for a little bit, and then I get to thinking about it, and I didn't verify it. So I popped the transmission back out, popped the pressure plate off, and sure enough, that disc was flipped and in there. So we had to pry that all out. We got it apart without damaging it, flipped the disc around, and then, you know, it occurred to me they hadn't put a flywheel bushing in it or nothing. So it was a real exciting build. This was back way before YouTube, but all the bolts from this thing had washed down the incline of this guy's driveway and out on the street. So it was like a day of collecting and laying out bolts, and we got it done, but it was several nights instead of a couple of hours. Now I'm hoping this one ain't gonna be like that, but it's been sitting for 4 years. It wasn't my tractor, and I didn't take it apart, so there's gonna be a learning curve. But again, it's gonna be a good story. So stick with me. I gotta go get some diesel and some water, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so we've arrived at the tractor. It's a little Kubota. Yeah, it's only a little taken apart. I'm gonna assume the engine's under here. Yeah, there's the engine. Oh, this will be simple. I'm just gonna check the oil, tighten up the alternator belt. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Well, so I'm gonna need a minute to get my bearings about all this, get my tripod set up, and then we'll see what we're doing. Piece of cake. Really. All right, so basically is what we're gonna do. Okay, so in walking around, I remember that the guy was telling me that in that shed behind me, there was a box of bolts. So basically is what we're doing is I got my truck tool bed laid out. We're gonna pop open a table. just so that we can kind of spread this out and see what we're looking at. It's a little bit disheartening, but you know, what do you expect? It's been in a box for 4 years. But I need another minute to kind of walk around and get my perceptions on this thing. I'm just going to take and show you a couple more things. Okay, so this thing obviously hangs under and is going to attach by 2 bolts probably to one of these. Now I'm going to assume probably there's 6 bolts on each side for the motor, and then the motor will connect to that. And I mean, this stuff is all pretty gooned up. We're going to have to change that throwout bearing. I'm really not looking forward to that part. But I mean, I think that's going to be our first order of business, is that throwout bearing. Maybe clean up some of these cobwebs. I don't know how well they show up, but there's a lot of cobwebs. So we're just going to kind of get our bearings for a minute, and then I'll get you guys back on the camera. All right, so kind of where we're starting at is I pried the throwout bearing housing off. This was pushed on there, and I tapped it a couple of times and it came right off. I was really not expecting that. So this was really, I mean, this was what I thought was gonna be my long pole in the tent today. I'm not gonna kid you. So basically, what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take up a couple of rags and clean this bad boy up real quick. I'm gonna push a brand new bearing back on there, and then I think we're gonna be ready to get something done. Oh, and we got to sort 3 boxes of bolts. But I'm kind of hoping that 2 of the boxes are all really big bolts. The bulk of that is really big bolts. We're still spilling fuel. I got to go take care of that. Okay. So we're going to re-grease this bad boy, but the new one pressed right on. It's super smooth. The spring was simple to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and re-grease this shaft and push it back on, and then we can start, you know, with the big stuff. And I mean, I don't want to get crazy with the grease because the last one wasn't super crazy, but it has valleys inside of it to hold a lot of grease. So we're just going to roll that up nice and smooth. Wipe it all off of the outside. There we go, nice and pretty. And then we'll go ahead and insert this. I always try to save that last little bit if I can. All right, so I'll do this from the other side, but see if I can't get you guys a good spot. Why does it look like there's a doodad in the way? Let's try that. And actually, once I get this on, I'll go ahead and get my GoPro out too. I should have done that first thing, but this is probably the first time that the GoPro is going to work. All right, so I think we're pretty close to being able to lift this up. This next couple minutes is always the scariest part because you worry about dropping it, I guess. But I got a brand new 500-pound cargo strap on it, but I think this thing weighs in the 350 to 400 range. But I'm not expecting super heavy. You almost have to know the exact angle that they took it out of here because you're not on the concrete. Six, could be 8 bolts. So here in a minute, we're going to have to pick up the motor and see what we have to work with. All right, now something that I notice here, just from the first set of bolts, is there's a couple of big ones and all of these got nuts. All right, nothing that holds to the motor is going to have nuts, which means this box here is probably the motor bolts. So if we go and put the likes all together, all right, so we have 4 of this kind, 2, 2, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 12 of this one. And honestly, very few of these look like what we're looking for. All right, and that part of the tractor was blue. So I would need 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, pretty close to what we got. All right, so now we're kind of getting somewhere. All right, we got to do a little bit of cleaning real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm tired and dirty. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of where we are on this little project, and then I'll come back and hit it again tomorrow. Okay, so basically we got 4 of the 6 bolts in and snug that hold the motor to the transmission. We replaced the throwout bearing, greased all of that, slid it all back together, rotated the motor several times, and then we got about half of the 12 bolts that hold the front end to the motor. And several of them are going to have to get dug out and blown out with some liquid, because I mean they just I hate to start tapping stuff, but we may have to consider that. I got the 4 bolts on for the bucket mount. The side on this side, the bolts are 1/4 of an inch longer, and they're too long. It looks like it had plates in it where maybe this side took the short ones and this side took the longer ones, because there's a piece right there. You just got to figure out whether it went on the inside or the outside. So we got to go do a little bit of homework on this thing. And you know, just having the big pieces bolted together like that, you can always go back and fiddle with the little ones. So for tonight, we're going to go ahead, we're going to get this thing covered up. It's not supposed to rain. It's supposed to be nice again tomorrow. But I believe that tomorrow we're going to be able to put some air in these tires. And then, because it's not running yet, I ran a strap to here, and I'll probably just lift this up with a come-along I found in a box, and then it'll be pushable so that we can take it up on the concrete and get away from these wood ticks. So that's kind of where we're at. So like always, folks, I'm Deke. This is Fixin' with Deke, and I'm out.